Salute and welcome to Wild Country Daily Entertainment. I want to show you guys I want to do a little history on Beaver Springs, the town that I live in, and how the creeks came to be by flowing underneath people's houses. So I'm going to show you something here in a little bit. I'm going to show you some of the creeks that run under people's houses and how it became to be. I'm going to flip this camera around. Hang on. Now, as you can see over here, you can see the creek, okay? That little spot that they have cut out, that's a spring. Okay? Right there, that's a spring. That's a creek though, and as you can see, that creek runs underneath that guy's house up there. See how it goes that way, and it cuts that way, and it runs underneath these houses here. Same with on this side over here. Now I'm going to show you this side here. There's a cop down the street. I'm gonna go down and film that cop. Now, here's another creek. See how this creek is? This creek runs right underneath that house. See it? That creek here runs all the way underneath this house. And it comes out. From over there. That's where it comes out at. Then the creek runs all the way down there. I'm going to show you. See, here's part of the creek and the spring. God damn, guy. But look. The spring here, that spring runs underneath the road and underneath this house here. And then over there, as you can see, this creek here, see this creek, it runs underneath the road and it runs underneath this house here too. Now the reason why, the reason why is because Beaver Springs, Pennsylvania in Snyder County gets its unique name from a combination of active beavers on a local stream and the prominent artesian spring that flows right through the town's main street. The secret underground creeks refer to the region's complex karst topography. How the underground creeks happened. The underground creeks and mysterious springs in and around Beaver Springs are formed by natural karst topography, a geological landscape made of easily dissolvable bedrock like limestone and dolomite. How it happened. Over hundreds of thousands of years, slightly acidic groundwater seeped through cracks in the rock. This naturally dissolved the limestone, widening these cracks into a vast underground labyrinth of sinkholes and caves. And subterranean passages, surfaces to subsurface. Surface streams and runoff from the surrounding ridges, like Shade Mountain, frequently encounter these openings, pouring directly into the ground and becoming disappearing streams. These creeks then flow through the dark, hidden caverns beneath the valley, before re-emerging at lower elevations as large, gushing artisans. Now, this leaves many modern property owners in the region dwelling with the legacy and historic plumbing and natural limestone cave networks. The creeks in and around Beaver Springs, PA, and Snyder County flow underneath houses primarily due to a combination of natural geology, town expansions, and historic ingenuity, because the area is defined by a limestone ridge, which is called Firestone Ridge, and karst terrain. The local hydrology features surface creeks that naturally cut directly into underground caves and sinkholes. As the town expanded in the 18th and 19th centuries, residents built over these streams and diverted them for daily practical use. The main reasons for these underground creeks in the region include: now, that karst topography. Beaver Springs sits on porous limestone that is highly susceptible to erosion. Over centuries, the creeks eroded the underlying bedrock, naturally dropping the waterways into subterranean passages. Spring house and early mills during the 1700s and 1800s, early European settlers purposefully built homes, spring houses, and grist mills directly over streams. A diverted, steady stream running right under the foundation provided continuous natural refrigeration for milk and meat, as well as a reliable source of power. Town development and culverts. As Beaver Springs developed into a community, natural ravines and creek beds were often too close to roads or restricted property lines. To maximize available land, early residents and municipal planners routed these creeks into covered culverts, tunnels, or over subterranean paths, subsequently building houses, basement, and roads on top of them. Under or through the foundation of their homes to power mills, route fresh spring water into basements, and create natural indoor refrigeration. The story of underground water and diverted creeks in Beaver Springs involves a mix of geology and purposely early engineering. The area is underlain by carbonate rocks, limestone, and dolomite that dissolve over thousands of years. This dissolution creates hidden natural underground conduits and sinkholes. Often a surface creek will encounter a fissure or swallet and naturally disappear underground before re-emerging elsewhere as a spring. the power of early industry. Like much of Pennsylvania history, Beaver Springs, originally known as Adamsburg, grew around the abundant water supply coming off the local ridges to maximize water power for early sawmills, which we did. We had a lot of sawmills in our area, and grist mills. Settlers diverted natural streams or built mill races that ran dangerously close to or underneath industrial and domestic foundations. Historically, spring houses. It was common practice for farmhouses and settlements in the 1700s and 1800s to build right over top of or strategically channel a spring into a basement or an attached stone spring house in Pennsylvania. This allowed families to have a constant source of fresh 55-degree Fahrenheit water for drinking and provide natural refrigeration for perishable goods. Borough expansion. As the region expanded, some of these old purposely diverted mill race and small natural runs were built over or culverted to make room for growing neighborhoods and roads. Because the landscape is heavily dominated by carbonate rocks, many of these lost historical streams and springs still fluctuate with the water table and rainstorms, occasionally carving their way back to the surfaces. So there you guys have it. There's a little bit of history on the town I live in, Beaver Springs, PA, and a little history on the springs and creeks around here. Now you have a better understanding how I came up with the name Beaver Valley in the beginning. Well, in the beginning, my name was Born Eraser, but then I switched to Beaver Valley. Now I switched to Wild Country. But yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting that I could share with you guys. Let me know what your thoughts are on what I just shared. Peace out.